Thanks, Ty, and thanks everyone for being here. Emily, Jessica, Nicole, welcome. Clayton, good to see you again as well. We're excited to go through this today. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to just, you can raise your virtual hand, you can go off mute and just stop me because this is your time. We want to be able to address anything that comes up, but we do offer the SHRM PDC credits for this training. So after this event, you'll get a follow-up email that will have a link to fill out, and then you get the unique code to claim those PDC credits. And that's completely free. We don't charge for this program. We very much want to give as much value as we can to our clients and our friends and help you do your absolute best. And in this case, we're going to be talking about awards and helping you increase your chances of winning, which is really fun. This is one of my absolute favorite topics. Another plug that I would make is if you go to mobrium.com, at the very bottom of any page, there's an option to subscribe to our newsletter. We do research articles typically once a month or every other month. It's not super high volume. You also will get alerted about webinars. So it's not any like hardcore selling. It's really focused on research and content that can help you expand your knowledge base and skills. So we definitely encourage you to subscribe there. Okay, so let's start with why. Why should we even try to win company culture awards? There's a few key points I want to make here, and I'd love to get your perspective on this as well. But companies with strong employer brands, they see 43% less turnover and 50% more qualified applicants. Now, this is kind of interesting because that's all focused on the outward facing perception of your company culture and how you are as an employer. It's not necessarily how legitimately good you are. These stats are around how well you showcase publicly. And that's because perception is reality, right? We're all using information online to make our decisions, whether that's purchasing a vacuum on Amazon and looking at reviews there, or looking at what other people have said about restaurants or hotels that we may stay at a vacation. That public facing information is critically important. And the same is true for affecting our retention and our turnover when it comes to our reputation as an employer. The next stat here, organizations with engaged employees see 18% higher productivity and 23% higher profitability. Now, this one's pretty common sense, right? If people love working for you, they're going to do a better job, and that's going to help you be more profitable as a business. But that doesn't always translate to how you showcase on the outside. We've talked to a lot of companies that they have great cultures, things are going really well, but they have disparity with their online presence, and maybe they have really low ratings. They don't really have much of an employer brand at all. And the productivity and profitability can slowly be eroded over time because even your current employees are affected by what they find online, and their perceptions of you as an employer may go lower across time as they realize, or they compare you to other companies that are showcasing better. They may say, oh, this other company over here actually is better because they have better ratings. But maybe in reality, that company isn't as good. You're just not really reflecting that goodness that you have as well. And so that can be a problem. The last point here is company culture awards can actually spill over to help you grow your revenue and attract customers and clients because it's a reflection of the service that they can expect from you. If your team loves working for you, you've got a great culture, that spills over to helping you win sales. Now, you may say, okay, all of these stats, they're not explicitly focused on awards. So where does that piece come in? Well, we can say that we have a great culture. We can say that our employees are really engaged, but it's just our opinion until it's actually real. And company awards, best place to work awards, and other types of awards can help verify the reality of that great culture. It's a stamp of approval from an outside party that says, hey, this company, they're not just saying they're great, but they are actually great. And we've done a comparison against other businesses, and they're in the top. And so that really helps move your momentum forward for shaping people's perceptions and behaviors around how good of a company you are. And that's going to affect the job seeker demographic, the employee demographic, and the customer demographic. So all these different stakeholder groups are affected by awards and your ratings and reviews and how you're showing up online. So any questions here? Any thoughts? Does this feel like what you'd expect? And if no, that's okay. I see Nicole shaking her head. Thumbs up, like it.
I think I have a question, Matt.
Yeah.
I think from like a business standpoint, it feels nice to like imagine winning an award or something, but it seems almost out of reach because there's so many businesses in every industry, and I find it hard to maybe get motivated to like think that my company can actually win an award. Don't know if you have like anything you can say to that.
Yeah, it's a very good point. You'll never make any shots you don't take. And a lot of awards have an application component or some type of element where we have to do something in order to qualify. So taking the time to understand how to qualify for awards and actually participating is the number one best way to increase our chances. One simple example of this is my book right here, The Review Cycle. This is the first and only book I've written. It is a big book. It's almost 300 pages. It took over 4 years of writing and research. But I would have won 0 awards for that book if I would have not applied for any. But I actually applied for 10 author or publishing awards and ended up winning 6. I spent about $600 for these different applications, and that was able to get significant exposure online for the book, increase the credibility of the book. Thanks, Jessica. and also help sell the book. So you could say, oh, well, is that really egotistical? Am I just trying to say that I'm awesome? Well, no, I just know how this works. And if you take the time to understand how you can, put your products, in my case, the book, in our case for this discussion, our culture and our company, up on a pedestal where we could win something, we increase our chances of winning. And not all awards are equal. Some are very much not worth it. Some are kind of a ripoff. Maybe they don't give you as much exposure, as much credibility, but others do. And in this training, we'll actually cover the different types of awards and how you can kind of vet which ones are more meaningful, more impactful for your business. So great question here. So let's now shift a little bit and talk about the different types of awards, and then we'll get into some application stuff of how you can increase your chances. So there are different levels, different tiers of awards. You've got local, national, industry-specific types of awards, and there's also company culture awards for different categories. Typically, we want to diversify our awards across at least a few different categories, just like we'd want to diversify our reputation and reviews across multiple different platforms, or just like we'd want to diversify our investments in our 401k across different companies. There's strength in diversification. We don't just want to find our one award that we always do every year. There's value in diversification because it's multiple stamps from different groups saying we're awesome. And that's way more powerful than us saying we're awesome, because of course we're going to say that. That's bias. When someone else says it, there's a lot more power there. Cost structure, there are awards that are free. There are awards that are pay to play. Some company culture awards are very expensive, but they still may be worth it based on the exposure that you are able to achieve if you win. But not all awards that cost a lot of money are worth it in the end. And so it's important to evaluate what makes sense for our industry and our business as we go along. Some awards, they're free, and that's kind of how they get you. But then once you win, they say, oh, well, come to this banquet where we're going to celebrate you, and tickets to this luncheon are $200 each or something. Like I went to one once where it was literally $525 for my dinner ticket to go to this award dinner. But it was worth it because it was a pretty prestigious award. The event is down in Vegas. And so to be conscious of costs, I was working for a different company at the time. I just went by myself, less travel expense. I accepted the award in behalf of the business and went home. So we were able to keep costs pretty low, but still capitalize on the opportunity to get the photo ops and everything to use for social media for that award. Some awards, they'll charge you for licensing packages to use their logo after you've won. Not all awards do that. And some have packages, advertising packages after you've won that you could consider based on the reach and exposure that they're able to get you based on the cost. Some you get significant exposure for absolutely free when you win, and we'll take a look at some of those as well. Some survey-based awards for company culture specifically, they'll have either a free or a pay to apply component, and then there's an add-on to get your data. You know, you do a survey across your entire workforce, and then they kind of hold that information hostage and say, oh, well, you're in the award program, but if you want to know what your employees said, you want us to share that with you, you have to pay an extra fee. And those can be expensive, but also can be worth it as well. And then there are some awards, obviously, that have a hybrid methodology based on some of those different things. So at the end of the day, you want to evaluate the ROI regardless of price. Some of the more expensive ones may be worth it, maybe they won't. But that's something you'll have to consider, and we'll look at different ways to do that as well. Okay, and this is where we're going to spend the most focus here. So there are 4 primary methodologies of different awards that I've seen, and I've managed a lot of award programs over the years. The first company that I ran awards for years ago, we applied to over 100 awards in about 2 years. We won over 50% of the awards that we applied to, and we averaged almost 3 media hits per award that we applied for. So that's definitely a testament to it is worth taking the effort to apply to awards. A lot of those were free or really low cost, and so there was a leveraged value there to level up the perceived prestige and performance of the brand and the employer while also being cost efficient. But these are the 4 basic types of awards. You've got nomination-based awards where you submit an application, you say different things, you answer different questions in a form about your culture or about a certain element of your business, and then a panel of judges goes through and they pick the winners based on some type of a scoring rubric, and they see who they feel is best based on who applied. In that environment, you will never win unless you apply. So you've got to know which awards are out there and actually submit something. Editorial awards, those ones are basically people selling you ad space in larger news outlets, business magazines, and they typically are less credible and more expensive. Employee feedback awards, you've got survey-based awards where you're administering a standardized survey to your workforce, and then the top scores win. And then you've got employer review-based awards where you're writing, your team is writing reviews on sites like Glassdoor, and that can qualify you for awards. So those are the 4 different categories, and they all have different value propositions to consider. So we're just going to briefly go through each of these in a little bit more detail. So number 1, the nomination-based awards. There is typically an application. Some are free, some are paid. Some of them will require you to submit actual business information. Like there's one in Utah that I've participated in the past, the Fast 50. So they look at the fastest growing 50 companies in Utah. You actually have to submit your gross revenue over multiple years to show how much you've actually grown. And sometimes other awards have other different things that you have to submit in order to verify business performance. This category, nomination-based awards, would also include some industry-specific awards, such as or not, maybe not industry, but discipline-based, like best remote work companies. You may have to prove what percentage of your workforce works remote. Or I've seen awards around being eco-friendly, and you have to submit certain pieces of information around how much waste the business produces if you're in manufacturing, for example. So there are typically different types of data pieces that are required and sometimes have to be validated for different awards. When you're looking at these different awards, honestly, you just want to consider, is this going to help us attract the right talent and the right customers? Is it going to be meaningful or important to the stakeholder groups that we're trying to influence? When you're looking at awards that talk about growth or culture or how good you are at being eco-friendly or things like that, if those things are important to your staff and you're really trying to attract people that are more mission-minded, that align with what you're trying to do, the way that you're trying to impact society, then that could be important. Or if that's a top consideration for your customers as they look to partner with you or do business with you, then these types of awards could be really valuable. For each of these 4, I've got some advice for maximizing your chances to winning. So for this one, here's your 2 pieces of advice. Go look at your past winners. Almost all nomination-based awards lists will show who won last year and tell a little bit about why they won. That can give you some gauge if you're competitive or not, if you were to apply for that award, and help you gauge if you want to spend on that award application if there's a fee involved. The other thing is you really want to be good at writing a strong application. If you've got someone at your company that's a copywriter or someone who's really good with written copy, lean on them to help you compose a really compelling application. Really focus on quantifiable success. That would be my number 1 piece of advice for any type of application-based award. You don't just want to say, we're really eco-friendly, but you want to put numbers to it. You want to say, we reduced our carbon footprint by X%. We reduced the number of, amount of packaging going to waste by X amount. Always have numbers to help quantify anything that you've accomplished, and that can help really showcase the strength of your application. The next one, editorial selection-based awards.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just ask one more question about the last slide?
Yeah.
I liked the second bullet point about writing a strong application, and I'm just wondering if you have an opinion around using AI or generative intelligence to write that application, if it's a good idea or a bad idea.
That's a great question.
Your thoughts.
I would say it's always helpful for a first draft to get you started, but I wouldn't completely rely on ChatGPT, for example, to write your application. If it helps you get something down and then you can kind of massage it from there, I would say most people are getting pretty good at kind of seeing through just straight AI texts. So don't just use copy paste, if that makes sense. But yeah, it could help you be a little bit more efficient in building out an application. Great question. The next one, honestly, please, I would advise not to do these ones. Just to give you an idea, like I received an email. I've received multiple emails from different news agencies, HR agencies, different media outlets saying, congratulations, Mobrium has been shortlisted as a top employee feedback company of 2024. And in one case, I actually emailed this individual back and asked, well, how did we get nominated for this? We've been in business at that time less than 2 years, right? And they responded back. They said there were about 17 companies that were nominated. They send out some thing to their subscribers. There were 84 total votes across 17 companies, and that's how they determined their winners for this really prestigious award. The package to be included was $5,000. It was not very substantial as far as how they were able to back up why we even deserved to be on this list. And it may feel tempting to be like, oh, well, I don't even have to do very much, and I win this huge award, and I just have to pay them, and we're going to have, you know, all this prestigious media that we can connect to. However, if you don't really have a good way to answer to your employees and to your customers why you were included and back that up, not only could it undermine the validity of the award, but it could actually really degrade how people perceive you because they think you're just trying to look good when maybe you're not actually earning it. So I would actually avoid these types of awards when you get someone saying, you're going to be on this list. The same thing as if you've ever received an email saying, hey, you're an awesome professional. We want to spotlight you on Forbes. Pay us $5,000, right? They're just pitching a media package. So consider those ones with caution. Number 3, survey-based awards. These typically require an application. A lot of them are pay to play, meaning you've got to pay a fee. And it's typically justified in the sense that the survey is professionally administered by a third party. One of the biggest ones, Top Workplaces, is administered by Culture Amp, and they run a full-fledged engagement survey. However, it is very structured. It has to fit their methodology. The timing of that survey may not be aligned with your typical cadence of asking for employee feedback, and so it could contribute to survey fatigue. I would recommend against doing too many of these. Maybe there's one that's really important to you, and it's outside of your typical cycle of asking for employee feedback, and so you can justify it that way. But your employees are going to be a little bit annoyed if you do too many of these, and it can be a logistical burden for everyone involved. And you don't have to do these every year either. Maybe you go for the Inc. Magazine Best Place to Work Award once every 3 years or something like that. So there is some value here. But a couple pieces of advice I would give you for these types of awards is you really want to encourage employee participation if you decide to do a survey-based award for company culture. Typically, there's a minimum required participation percentage. Some that I've participated in have a requirement of 50% plus. But as you get more participation, it actually increases the chances of winning because they give more weight to companies that have a higher response rate. So aiming for 80% response rate on an engagement survey-based award would be ideal. Some of these awards, when you apply, you just have the chance to win one award. Some of these award programs, you do one survey and there is a chance to win more than one. And so that's also something to take into consideration. Do you want to go through all this much effort to maybe win one award, or are there some that can help you qualify for multiple awards from one effort? And then that takes us to the last of the list, employer review-based awards. And this is obviously our favorite at Mobrium. Mobrium is an employer reputation management business. We focus on helping our clients collect more feedback on different platforms. And we like being in this space because it's really cost efficient. There are no fees to apply or to be included in employer review-based awards like on Glassdoor or Comparably. There is no application. You do not have to spend time writing a lengthy application, collaborating with a copywriter, using ChatGPT to go through a bunch of iterations. They're literally just looking at the quality and quantity of reviews that you have on your profile in the most recent 12 months. A lot of these awards have significant free publicity. Glassdoor gets over 50 million unique views every year. Comparably although it's smaller, they get 3 million a year. They actually have exclusive partnerships with Forbes, Business Insider, and several other significant media outlets, and they get a lot of exposure on their award lists. In my personal opinion, these awards, these employer review-based awards, have the most natural tie-in to a best practice employee feedback program. When you do a one-off survey-based award, everyone knows, your employees know that it's to help you qualify for award, and that can materially change the way that they respond to those survey questions compared to just doing your once a year engagement survey just because you want to be the best and it's internal only. It takes a slightly different tone when you ask employees for a review or asking employees to participate in a survey that's explicitly connected to an award. With reviews, if we're just continuously asking for reviews on an ongoing basis and the byproduct is award eligibility, that has a more natural tie-in and it doesn't feel as self-serving as applying to that paid survey-based award. So our advice for maximizing your chances to win these awards is same thing as the surveys. We want to encourage employee participation. Without asking for reviews, we typically see review rates between 0.5 and 3%. Oh, Nicole, you have a question?
Yes. Can you give me the names of a couple of the awards that follow the structures, just so I can get in my head what that looks like?
Yeah. So that's actually on the next slide. So we've got, we'll go through Glassdoor, Comparably, and InHerSight. There's about 30 different ones, but yeah, I'll get to that here in just 1 second. We actually, I'm just going to tell you right now anyway, but we're going to send everyone a follow-up that has a link to a whole bunch of awards with the links to all the different award programs to help expedite your research of different award programs. We want to just make that easier for you. So we've got that ready to go for you as well. Great question, Nicole. But yeah, to qualify for these awards, we would try to get to 18 to 30% on your review rate. Okay. And then, okay, next question here. And then let's see. Hey, Nicole, if you could maybe just mute for just a second. I think I'm getting just a little feedback there.
Oh, I apologize.
No, you're totally good. Okay, so here's just kind of an overview of the employer review platforms. Glassdoor has 2 award categories. They have their best place to work award list, and then they also have their best leadership award. So they got rid of their best CEO award, and then they created the best leadership award, which looks at the CEO and executive team combined. That award only counts, or they only include large employers. Their definition is 1,000 plus employees, but even small businesses can be included in the best place to work award, which in my opinion is the most prestigious. It's the one that has the greatest weight. And then this just gives you a quick overview of the different platforms, how big they are, how much traffic they have, and average star ratings, just to get kind of a quick benchmark comparison of how you're doing. Comparably, they have 16 awards. They do their awards every single quarter. So they have Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and they do, 3 per quarter. And they've got a whole, I'll send you the link included in that list of awards directly to their program overview. but they've got things like happiest employees, best CEO. They've got a couple department specific awards. They've got best company for certain demographics, like best employee for females. And there's several others that are most flexible, best pay, but 16 award opportunities there. In her site has over 20 different award categories. They have an overall list, then they have regional lists based on your location. They have industry specific lists. So whatever industry that you fall under, you could be ranked in their top lists. And then they have like culture categories, like most flexible, best opportunities for professional growth and development. We don't necessarily need to worry about trying to win one specific category or another. If we just try to collect as many reviews as possible and really encourage our employees to share honest feedback, that's going to help us hit the minimum requirements, which is the next slide, and maximize our chance of winning. So here's the minimums that we need to get to. So on Glassdoor, if we have less than 1,000 employees, we need a minimum of 30 reviews per year. On Comparably, we need 25. And then we can start qualifying for awards on InHerSite with a minimum of 10 reviews on InHerSite. Some of their award categories have a 20 review requirement and a 30 review requirement. But I'm not 100% confident if that cuts off in the most recent 12 months. I think they just look at all-time review counts on their award methodology. Glassdoor for large companies, so 1,000 plus, we need 75. And if we have more than 500 employees, we need 75 per year on Comparably. One of the biggest points that I hope you take away from this training is employees can leave one review per year. It's not a one or done thing. Because of that, if we track who we've asked for a review when, we know when we can ask them again. And that helps us maximize our chance for collecting authentic feedback that strengthens our ratings. And the byproduct is better chances of winning awards on a reoccurring basis. And this is a long-term endeavor. If we stop asking for reviews, our ratings can start to atrophy. These ratings are calculated algorithmically. For example, on Glassdoor, a review that's 1 month or newer, we've estimated, and we don't have an exact confirmation on this, but we've estimated it's worth as much as 32 reviews that are 1 year or older. And so there's a very disproportionate amount of weight on recent reviews for both calculating your star rating, which affects your business every single day, but then also affects your award eligibility as well. I would definitely recommend reading these 2 blog posts on Mobrium's website. They're up and unlocked free. If you just go to mobrium.com/research, you can find both of them, but they go through a really deep dive if you're wanting to nerd out a little bit more about the different eligibility requirements for Glassdoor and Comparably, which are the most robust and have the most exposure as when it comes to review-based award programs. So this is the last slide, and then I just want to open it up to Q&A and with the remaining time. So questions for reflection. Do you feel like your company is a best place to work? If you do, then it's probably worth putting some effort into helping validate how awesome you are by applying to some awards. And as we saw with the employee reviews, it's not applying, it's just meeting award eligibility, and we're automatically included. And then those nomination-based awards, we want to identify the ones that meet our business needs, that align with what we're trying to showcase and put attention on, and then apply strategically. We would also want to look at how our current employer ratings and reviews are. Let's say we have pretty poor or average reviews on Glassdoor and Indeed, but then we go win top 10 on Forbes Best Place to Work award list. That doesn't really feel right? There's some disparity there, right? Forbes is saying we're incredible, and then Glassdoor, Indeed, and Comparably, the collective voice of all our employees, is saying we're average. So that there is something to be said for ensuring that we're kind of rising everywhere and caring about everywhere we're showing up online. And so caring about your ratings and reviews is going to help as well when that time comes when you start winning some of these awards. And then, yeah, just figure out which awards fit your program's needs and budgets. Evaluate the most applicable awards, and we're going to help jumpstart that effort for you by sending a really long list. I can actually show you what this looks like that we put together. There's a whole bunch of awards in here that you can go through and see. We looked at the annual web traffic, the average cost, the links, organizer, focus, methodology. All of this we're going to provide to you for free in the follow-up. So that should be a helpful resource to you. And then the last recommendation is I would say just make a really basic spreadsheet to track the applications that you've applied for or met eligibility for. So you can track your win rate, save links to media hits that you earn. That sort of thing. So that's the whole training. I guess we can just open it up for any final questions or thoughts.
Hey, Matt, do you know that you just exited the meeting and re-entered or no?
I didn't do it on purpose, but I guess I did.
There was a quick little blip where we missed you. So I don't know if you want to go over just that last 2 cents you had.
Oh, the last thing was just creating a really basic spreadsheet for tracking the awards that you apply to. Did we get that piece?
Yeah, we caught the front end of that. So it sounds like we probably got most of it.
Okay. Yeah, just so you can track what you've done, how much it cost, if you were able to win, and URLs to like media hits that you earn.
Will you also be sending a recorded version of this webinar? Thanks.
Yep. Yeah. Did you have any other questions, Nicole?
No, I have quite a bit of experience being involved or on the as an employee and as well as HR team in working with becoming an award-winning company like Great Places to Work. I worked for CHG Health for 14 years, so I understand it, and it really, to go back to the first question that was asked, from my vantage point, it really becomes about making this part of your strategic initiatives and selling to your C team really what it means when you can win these awards and how it helps you get top talent, which it really does. My experience has been that millennials and other generations are really doing a little more research than maybe what I did as a kid. And it's not about pay, but it's about, the whole experience. And so however a company can leverage that, it's especially when it's been so hard in recent years to find great talent, really goes a long way. So I have a really good experience with being an award-winning organization. And I know from my perspective, Kids on the Move is a great place to work. We're not doing hardly anything as it relates to strategic initiatives surrounding culture, yet we're winning these awards. And so what I'm trying to do is put some actual strategy behind it. So this is step one. So I appreciate the information that you provided today. Super helpful.
Yeah. Very happy to help, and really appreciate your questions and your input. And yeah, your experience there is definitely valuable to Kids on the Move. They're lucky to have you for sure. Well, sweet.
It's a cool place.
Yeah, I've heard from others as well how awesome it is. Very excited for the progress and success that you've seen there. Any other questions? We're about at time, so we'd love to be able to get you out of here on time.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Ty, you want to close it up for us, and we'll be done.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I love these webinars because I actually learn a lot from the people that we have present. So hopefully that you guys found some value in seeing that it really is attainable to win Best Place to Work awards. I liked how Nicole said when we take it as part of our strategic initiatives, right? It can be difficult to passively win awards, but when we're intentional about how we want to win awards, it's very much attainable. So thanks you guys for being here. Likewise, there is going to be that follow-up email it'll come out anywhere between today and a couple days from today. Sometimes it takes us a minute to get it put together, but you can look for that list that Matt was talking about, where it'll kind of jumpstart your research into some Best Place to Work awards. And then you'll also find some things like today's webinar recording. And most importantly to me, you're going to see a link to register for next month's webinar. I'm really, really excited. It's going to be on, oh, I got the wrong date in here. It's going to be the second Wednesday in March, which is March 14th, or May, excuse me, not March. It'll be on May 14th at this exact same time. And we're going to have Ursula Mead presenting. She is the CEO of In Her Sight, which is one of those big 4 employee review websites that we like to talk about. And she will be presenting research about supporting women in the workplace. And she really is kind of the master on this topic, especially with the company that she's built. So we're really, really excited to have her. We look forward to seeing you guys next month. Tell your friends. It's going to be a really, really good one. So feel free to reach out to us from that follow-up if you have any questions. And thanks for being here.